ask because when I found out that you were going to be part of this project again, I was like, really? Because I thought you were, because maybe you could have tried different things, and I was like, wow, is this kind of difficult? Like, is this something that maybe you're worried about your image and people being,
Sure. It was a very risky move in some ways, as you just articulated. But what had happened was the studio had approached me about doing a cameo. And it was kind of a weird request because the cameo had no context to the movie. But they just wanted to add this cameo thing. And they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. They said, if you do this cameo, we will allow you to produce the next installment, which was their way of saying, we will return to the story, the saga that was set out in the first one.
Then was it hard to convince the rest of the old, like the
rest of the cast to come? I think they all jumped on. I was actually flattered by how enthusiastic they were to jump back on. And it was very important for them to come on because so much of the story and so much of what I was fascinated about or what I was interested in exploring story-wise involved them. Without them, you have no Don.
I have to ask because I just talked to Justin, and
Sure.
he seemed like a really cool cat. And I'm wondering, what was it like to work with a director who, the first time around, like when the first movie came out, he was just a film student. Like, did
Sure.
what was that like to have somebody who was a fan of the project?
Yeah. It was one of the best things about shooting the movie was Justin and working with Justin. Justin and I have similar backgrounds. We both came in to Sundance with independent films, independent directed films. So there was a camaraderie there. But there's also a truthfulness about somebody that could say, I was a fan of this franchise before I was a director. There's some integrity that comes with that. And then on top of that, the best thing was, here's a guy that wanted to reach for the best possible rendition of this movie, the best possible reality of this movie. And to see somebody that works as hard as me, that is ready to be there and explore everything and push everything to the limit. We came into the process handicapped. We were following this movie after the writer's strike. So I don't need to tell you how complicated that can be without going into pre-production, living through pre-production without writers is an arduous way to make a movie. And that's one of the examples of how Justin shined, because he would labor just like me over every scene and the direction of the story, and was so committed. And then we found a way to take all of his expertise, all of his experience doing Tokyo Drift, and use all of those action scenes and push them to the next level and use them to drive the story. That's rare. That's rare that you see an action scenes like the ones in this movie so directly drive the story.